our Hotspots magazine is celebrating 38 years, and it's been documenting the LGBTQ plus lifestyle and is the spirit of our Hotspots queer entertainment this week. It's sponsored by the Broward Center for the Performing Arts. In the LGBTQ plus community, we always make jokes about size matters. When it comes to Broward Center, size does matter. The Broward Center for the Performing Arts is the destination of choice for LGBTQ plus South Florida for spectator entertainment in a large variety of performance venues. Broward Center ranks among the top 10 most visited theaters in the world, presenting more than 700 performances a year to more than 700,000 patrons. Broward Center is the home for LGBTQ plus entertainers, shows, Broadway, national drag performance, LGBTQ plus choral events, and so much more. And Broward Center supports one of the world's largest gay communities right here in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, and really for all of South Florida. They support the LGBTQ plus community and are nonprofits unlike any theater in South Florida. We are excited to tell you in the upcoming shows the rich performances that the Broward Center for Performing Arts will bring to our LGBTQ community. And did you know, by the way, that surveys show that the LGBTQ plus community participates in live theater performances 2.5 times more often than our straight counterparts. And that's why they are the sponsor of Hotspots Queer Entertainment this week. Here we go. One of the defining apps in the dating world and for LGBTQ plus community is Grindr. It was founded by Joel Simkhai back in 2009. Grindr's only been here 14 years. Wow. The service has introduced millions of people around the world. Although Simkhai left the company in 2018, he told plenty of diverse stories recently from people who have experimented with Grindr. While talking to Out magazine, he dished on his newly launched dating app, Motto, and shared his favorite Grindr stories too. He said, quote, "Recognition stories are always the most interesting. Stories about people meeting their husbands or partners are wonderful." End quote. Compared to Grindr, the new app Motto is geared toward a more personal approach with plenty of information needed even to set it up and create a new account. The question is, will queers shift to the new app knowing that Grindr has worked for so many queer? Our Hotspots Queer Entertainment headline of the week, share your favorite Grindr app stories, starting with the Grindr founder, Joel Simkhai. What do y'all think about Grindr? Do you have any great stories?
Well, first of all, did this guy not make enough money when he left Grindr that now he's got to start his own shit? No one's going to go over to this Motto Lotto thing. No one is going to go over there. Grindr has worked forever.
You will go.
I'll put on both.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's Scruff. There's so many other things, too. I know of a friend who was outed by his son on a family vacation because they both were on Grindr and didn't know that they each were out. And the son saw the dad 50 feet away. And he looks over and it's his dad. And he's like, what the F? And literally at the dinner that night on the he literally told the whole family, like, look who I found on Grindr, my father.
Oh.
Was the kid out?
The kid was out, but the dad was not.
Oh my God.
I have a friend just like that. And his biggest fear is that his son is going to catch him on Grindr.
Well, he should get off Grindr. Your friend should go on Motto Lotto.
So I don't think that we're gonna transition over. There's Tinder first and foremost. There's Grindr. I never even heard of Motto Lotto, so it wasn't until
it's not out yet down here, is it?
I believe it's just started.
It's rolling out now.
So I think it's to answer the question, it's always going to depend on the advertising and the effort that's put in place to make it look beautiful and to see how it can take the place of the immediate gratification. And to Faye's point, I'm not really sure if it's going to take we already have well-established Tinder.
You're very active in Grindr?
I'm not very active. I get on it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I have conversations.
Right.
So I may talk. It doesn't mean I'm always going to hook up with the person.
Right. But active doesn't mean what the end conclusion is. You're frequently on Grindr.
Yeah, I get on there.
Mm-hmm. You're frequently on Grindr.
Perhaps.
Okay. And are you on Grindr frequently or not?
Frequently, yeah.
And they won't give me back my account on Grindr. Mother effers, give me my account back.
I wasn't
and
going
banner
back to
on Motto
Faye.
too.
Right. So for the three of you, in terms of being on Grindr, do you think it's desirable? Motto's his new strategy of having more information and set it up in a little less way than Grindr is done by.
It's ridiculous.
You just made it Christian mingle. Who the hell wants that?
You
this
really
I
did.
do.
You just made it
No,
you just made it
just
Tinder.
no, Al,
And
come
Tinder is
on.
already there.
This is ridiculous. They're like, oh, more personal, more information. Their motto, I know we saw it on one of the full screens, their motto is get on and get off. Okay, get on and get off.
Yes.
So
As little
it's not
information
that
as possible.
different.
How big
It's
is
not
your
that
shit?
different.
I am just seeing that underneath motto, and I had a whole idea from how he described it. Now that I see the tagline under there, I'm like,
Well,
okay.
you do talk to
wait,
yourself
that's
when
a
you're
little
in
different.
there.
You can't get to that because you do have to provide much more information to create your profile.
And you have to have a face pic,
Yeah.
which is like one of my biggest gripes on Grindr is just asking people to send face pics. And they also verify it because they look for whatever pics that you're posting plus your face pic to see if they match.
So they match your penis picture to your face.
They match your.
Is everybody's penis the same color as their face? Like,
No, not your.
I mean,
like,
yeah,
elimination?
if I've been running a lot, yeah.
There's been a lot happening on this show. And then McCarty, thanks, McCarty.
I tried asking the question about motto. I'll move beyond that. So for the three of you, Faye has a great Grindr story. They won't allow her on Grindr.
Great one.
For y'all,
Great.
the most shocking thing that's happened to you on Grindr? What is it? Tell me.
Come back to me. I
All
gotta
right.
think.
What's the most shocking thing that happened to you?
So I was in a hotel one time, and the guy was like 2 floors above me. So it said we were like 8 feet away because he was like directly above me. But so I went up to his room, and I had to wait for the guy who was already in the room having sex with him. I had to wait for him to leave so
he
that I
double-booked?
could. Then I could go.
So he double booked.
He specifically told me 8:50. I showed up at 8:45. My
That
fault.
was your fault.
Yeah.
Cleanup time. That was cleanup
Did
time.
it, did it matter to you to? That is the classic definition of sloppy seconds. That didn't matter to you?
Well,
At
maybe
my age,
before.
no.
No, it didn't.
I will. I am grateful for anyone who views me as a sentient sexual being.
Okay. Well, okay, boys, around the table, okay? You guys all have used Grindr at one time or another. Have you looked at it at an airport?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Have you looked at it at a work event?
Oh yeah.
No.
Al?
No.
Sometimes.
Well, you work with a bunch of queers, so of course, okay.
No, that's the one time when if I'm in the theater world, that's the one time that I try not to, or I take the picture down because I know there's going to be a bunch of queers
But was it?
around me, and I'm in a position of power.
Give me
You're
an
right.
opportunity.
Oh, I know. I have a story now.
Wait.
But go ahead.
Okay, good. Weirdest Grindr story.
Just remembered.
Yeah, we lost your point. So the weirdest Grindr story ever at a hotel, hooking up with housekeeping.
At the hotel.
At the
not weird.
hotel. But he was on duty. He was the guy
In the hotel or in your room?
Both. He was in charge of maintenance, and he happened to, on his rounds. He stopped in. He got a gift, and he left.
That's a good way to get late checkout.
Okay.
I love that.
You get perks. You
Absolutely
got it.
check out
I
every
mean,
time.
yeah.
And Trini, your strangest Grindr story.
So now remember when we said theater, there was a guy, I've never hooked up with anybody in a cast that I've worked with before. So this one guy saw me on Grindr. It was right after I shaved my head the first time. And I had my sunglasses on, so I couldn't tell
So
whether...
you look like Gandhi.
So, no, I looked
That was
like I was in the
That was
military.
payback for his dick.
So
I
then
love that.
the guy in my cast that I talk to every day sends me a dick pic. And no hello, no nothing like that. So I look at it, immediately delete the profile, and I go back into the rehearsal, which I'm leading, and didn't know if he realized it was me or not. And so I was just trying to find any kind of like physical sign. And to this day, and I see him all the time, and I never ask him like, did you know that was me who you sent a dick pic to? So that was it.
Ooh, okay. And last question
That story
related
sucks.
to...
I mean,
Because he knew
it was
was
better
you.
in my head.
Everything is better in your head, we
Right.
know.
Does conversation make any difference in Grindr?
Yes.
Yes.
It does.
Yeah.
Really? It does.
I am not the kind of person, Elimination and I are probably very different in this one, or maybe not, that like I just cannot talk sex. Or I'm like, I have to know how your day was. I have to know what your mama's name is. I got to know how many brothers and sisters you got.
need to know
I mean,
about
maybe
your
not
mom.
all of that. But like I have to feel some kind of chemistry
Connection,
as
right?
connection
No,
before
absolutely.
I can move
Absolutely.
And that's what you said
And I've
too.
said that many, many times. It's all about the conversation. I'm never going to, unless I'm really at that moment where I need you're coming over the exact day. It has to be some conversation. It has to be, I need to get a feel because I've played that game with someone who instantly I came over after a few conversations. And one of my hard no's is drug induced. You cannot, I will not play, I will not do any kind of sex, any kind of scene with someone who's drug induced. And that person came over. And the crazy thing is when you're not, and you can feel it, smell it, and taste it, then and they play the game as if they've never been, well, I'm not high. You got to get
I had
out.
a better story now.
All right, well,
I think
tell
we
us.
should drugs.
tell
Oh
us.
my
Get
Do we
right
really
to it.
have to hear his
No,
better
it's okay.
story?
It's okay. No.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not that good.
no,
Trust.
so I was when I was early on coming out, I was really curious about every kind of scene, and I was just realizing what people were telling me what certain abbreviations were with T's and capitalized T's and stuff. And so somebody had, with a capitalized T, had messaged me and told me that he was in this like really sleazy hotel. But it's one of those that have like all the colored lights and everything. And I really like colored lights. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I just want to see this hotel. So I said, well, okay, well, I don't really want to have sex, but I kind of want to come over. So he told me the address. So I went over there and he answered the door like completely naked. It was a younger kid, like early 20s. And there were some other people in there. And so I came over and I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And he's like completely naked and like, methed out or something like that. So he goes, sits on the bed and everybody else is around. And I'm like, can I see your bathroom? Can I see and I just like kind of, got into the heart-shaped tub, like whatever, and looked at things and then I left. So that was I didn't do anything.
So you got it right, Faye, right at the beginning.
Told you.
Maybe I was trying a little rose.
Trying to tell you,
maybe a little rose.
Don't walk into this. I
One
was
thing at the
trying.
risk, y'all are going to read me, but try to be open-minded for a second. My most, I'm not a Grindr. I've never been interested in Grindr. It's not interesting to me in terms of meeting interesting people for whatever. I was at Harvard, and I was in Boston for an event, a convention that I was at, and somebody that was a very close friend to me, attractive guy, complained about Grindr and how superficial it was, and it took so long and blah 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 blah. And I said, no, you're not doing it right because you're not talking in the way you should. We were in a bar at the Marriott, right on the Charles River at Harvard. And I took his phone and took his profile and played him. And we were there in the bar. We had a great night, 3 hours of just playing in Grindr. I reeled in 40 guys, 40. And the reason it was interesting to me because just please give me the benefit of the doubt that I'm able to talk digitally to be interesting. And it was shocking to people. And I remember thinking, and he was shocked at the success that he was having in Grindr because it was just taking enough time to go, wait, I'm going to be super interesting to you, and therefore you're going to love the experience. And one right after the other. How about now? How about in an hour? How about in 2 hours? Over and over and over. And it was interesting because if gay men are a little more patient and they're a little more interesting, Grindr is a fantastic tool. I have no interest in Grindr at all. But for him, that was the experience, which was, wait, gay guys are not as superficial as we think if we give them the opportunity.
Well, I would say also something really fun to do is give your Grindr to your straight guy friend and let them go on as you, and it's like the funnest night.
Oh, it's a fun night. Yeah. Oh, that's what that experience was. Okay. That was what I was saying. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show from Happening Out Television Network. In the model of PBS and NPR, we educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of the LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the stories going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.